Welcome back. Well, just a couple days ago, United had their M&C committee meeting, and today we have the chairperson of that committee, Carl Randazzo. Good to see you, Carl. As always, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk about several different things, and one of the topics we'll get to is the fencing.
Correct. And the thing right now is we had our initial M&C committee meeting with the new directors that were just recently elected. So there's 5 of us on that particular committee, and 3 of us are returning. 2 of them were termed out, so they're no longer on the board and on the committee. Okay. So we have 2 new members as a result of that.
All right.
And so as a result of that, I was also, since I was had longevity on that committee, I was assigned to be the chair of that committee. And we kicked off the meeting with me coming up with some ground rules that I would expect to happen during this particular year with the M&C committee. It's a very important committee because M&C has a large portion of the budget for all of the work that's being done around here. So this is my first time chairing a committee, but not my first time involved in maintenance and construction, because that's my background when I was working for a living. Because I have an engineering, construction, and management background. One of the things that we normally talk at this committee meetings is the project log, and this project log is an 11 by 17 sheet, which was issued by Ernesto, who's the M&C committee manager, the M&C manager for VMS, and he publishes this, and it provides a list of most of the programs and projects that are being conducted within United. He has one for each of the specific mutuals and GRF. So that provides a lot of detail as to what's going on within that, so that we get to review that as the M&C committee. So I'll go over a couple of the items that we went through during this meeting. Waistline remediation is an issue at this particular point in time, as everyone knows. We continue to apply epoxy linings to the insides of the waistlines to mitigate leaks that are occurring due to corrosion and root intrusion. The corrosion is happening within the whole pipe itself, and the root intrusion obviously is a section of pipe outside of the buildings from the trees. And obviously, due to age, these pipes are 50+ years old. So we have completed 110 buildings, with 10 more to be completed by the end of this year. The other thing that's been a topic is Pushmatic panel replacement. These Pushmatic breakers are types that you push in and push in, and they'll turn them, and they'll engage, push again, okay, and they'll disengage. And these type of breakers were installed in housing and various different buildings back in the 60s. And they found them to be very good at the time, but in time they're finding out that little springs and stuff in there were not working as well, and as a result of that, they were failing. So we haven't many failures in the community, okay, but we've had some that have not been all that up to par. So we've decided that we were going to start a program to take out the Pushmatic panels and go with these regular toggle type electrical breakers. And so that's a program that's going on right now. And in this particular year, we have addressed 244 of those panels, with more to go in time.
Okay.
And then part of the other problems that we have in the M&C is the fact that due to age, again, building structures, foundation, and common walls start developing cracks, settlement of these particular things. And as a result of that, most houses do settle, and most buildings do settle, but in time you possibly have to do something about it, and these things have aged to 50 or 60 years again. So we have to address that also. And it's an ongoing program where we see problems, we fix them. So that's part of the whole process. And then we have the fencing issue. And as we know, fencing has been an issue within the community. There's been, especially in 3rd along Ridge Route, okay, but that's not our territory. There's a wall, and then there's barbed wire along the top of the wall. And the city has asked us to replace some of that barbed wire. And we have to replace 300 feet of it per year. but we've been doing a lot. We're going to be doing a lot better than that. We have a program that goes up to 2031, this program.
Wow.
And right now, if we have a copy
Yeah,
of
we'll
that
bring up the
fencing,
map for you.
right now, we're going to be doing about 1,400 feet of this fencing per year, whereby we have to clear the area around the walls, then take the barbed wire off, and then install this shepherd's crooks at the top of the walls to, first off, make it look a little bit better, and secondly, the fact that the barbed wire in time just rusts and corrodes away. So we're trying to make that better. And right now, if you see on that map, there's two areas along Calle Aragon and Avenida Carmel at the intersection where El Toro and Moulton, right behind the little area there. That's the little shopping center where Aldi's is. That basically that area there, and you'll see it on there. It specifically states 2018, and when you see 2018, that's the fence. That's the section that we're going to be replacing this year,
Okay.
and that has started. And if you notice the red circles. It says 1, 2, and then 3.
Right.
Those are the security priorities. If you look at that in the bottom.
Okay.
So priority 1 was that area around Moulton and Calle Avenida Carmel. Then and then there's priority 2, and priority 3 is there along Moulton behind I guess the church maybe and what have you. So in any case, that is something that's ongoing also as part of this committee. And then the other thing we discussed was fire avert devices. These are devices that are being used in other places. We're going to possibly do a pilot program to address whether or not they may be worthwhile for us. They work off these smoke alarms, and there's two different methods. First off, if it's a device that you install under the stove where it connects into the electrical wiring. And what it does is, in one device, if the smoke alarm goes off, the sound will trigger this to allow the little breaker inside of that device to disengage, and it'll turn the stove off.
Okay.
And that will make sure that if there is some sort of smoke or fire as a result of the stove, okay, you're not just adding insult to injury by adding some more heat.
Yeah.
So it'll turn the stove off. And the second one is a device whereby there's a little relay within the smoke detector that automatically pops the breaker on the panel.
Okay.
And those are two that we're looking at right now as possibly something that we can use here in the village. And then last but not least, okay, we talked about a lot of things, but these are one of the highlight topics, is the fact that a spiced berry color paint. It seems that, and to me, spiced berry is red. I mean, they can call it what they want to call it, okay, but spiced berry is red to me. And that's what it is. It looks like a red. It looks red. And that particular spiced berry was a color that was available for people to use for their doors in the United.
Okay.
And now we are going to be, it was taken off of the palette when they changed out the palette a couple of years ago. And then a lot of people recently, within the last year or so, have asked that spiced berry or that red color be used for their doors. And we've had to make it a change whereby we have to get board approval and what have you. That's getting to be a hassle.
Yeah.
And that's kind of ridiculous, okay, for a door. And then we're getting so many people that want the red, and we went back and we discussed it, and we said, you know, there's no reason why they can't have red, and we can add that to the paint palette.
Yeah.
So we added it back to the paint palette, and now you'll have to go to the architectural controls to just let them know that you're going to be doing it. There's a process that's being used, and I'm not going to go into the process right now. But it is now a color that's available that you can use, and it's called Spice Berry, a.k.a. red, okay? And
All right.
basically, that's what we did at the M&C committee this week.
Okay, very good.
Questions or anything?
No, I think you about covered it. And, you know, the one thing I do want to ask about the fencing is that's a 12-year plan.
That's a 12-year plan.
Now, is there any
exactly.
thought about speeding that up?
There is some thought about speeding that up, but it has to do with money.
Okay.
You know, and the thing right now is we have to decide whether or not we want to put in more than 1,400 feet of fencing, or we want to do something else in the community, okay?
Okay.
Because we want to also make sure that we don't increase the assessments that much also. So
Right.
it's budgets. It has to, everything has
Okay.
to do with money. as
Because
you
I
well
would
know.
imagine 1,400 feet of fencing 8 years from now is going to cost a lot more than it does now.
Most probably.
Yeah.
But there has been talk at the committee meeting. We talked about the fact that possibly speeding that up, like the waistline remediation.
right,
We are speeding up the waistline remediation because of the fact that we're getting more water intrusion into the units, and we're paying money to as a result of the water intrusion to fix that. The results of that water intrusion problem, okay? So why don't we put the money into actually getting the pipes fixed first,
Yeah.
okay? Address the problem and not the symptom of it.
Yeah.
So, yes, we are thinking about possibly speeding that up, but right now the program goes to 2031.
All right, very good. Carl, always good to see you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for coming on, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.